Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Had to think about that for a minute. So, Dev is a scumbag. Yep, Dev is a scumbag. Listen, when I was preparing my notes and everything like that to do the review, I was like, maybe I shouldn't go so hard on that because he is a teenager, and after all, teenagers, sometimes they don't think that far ahead. Pause it for a second. So his whole plan is to try to get with Jocelyn. So this guy decides to make up some sort of BS story because he wants to sit there and hang out with Jocelyn and look at the stars or whatever. Jocelyn's like, alright, cool, so let's call Cameron and Trina to kind of all hang out. I'm just like, you know what? I wanted to sit there and say, why don't you just take a hint? But I really dislike taking hints. I'd rather somebody just be direct with you. But whatever, fine. He really did get what she was saying. But instead of him just sitting there taking what she obviously said was a no, he decides to act like a scumbag and make some sort of fake text and saying that, Trina is busy hanging out with Cameron or something. So she gets upset and she goes for a run. And that's when Dev enacts the second part of his plan, which is to try to get Cameron disinterested. So he... He decides to take... At first, I thought he took Jocelyn's journal. What he really did was he copied, I guess, her handwriting a little bit, and showed it to Cameron, and was like, oh, well, the kiss is sloppy, this, that, and third, and I don't know how to tell him no. And, gets Cameron all upset or whatever. And then he's sitting down, and the thing that really blew me, the thing that really made me want to call him a scumbag, was that after he finished his plan of getting Cameron embarrassed or whatever, how Jocelyn may think or whatever, he's sitting there smiling. And I'm like, wow, bro, really? But then I sit there and think back to when they first found him in Turkey or whatever. I guess he was like, being a con artist or whatever, just running scams and stuff like that. So I'm just like, it's not like this dude is like a perfect angel or something. I mean, he has good moments every now and then, but let's be very clear. The guy has scumbag tendencies. Also, Cameron's hand was like sliced open because he was sitting there thinking about, Jocelyn, and Jocelyn sitting there talking to her mother for advice or whatever. Not gonna lie, I kind of got a little bit too Disney for me, but main point is that Cameron is there trying to, Dev is there trying to find ways to break up or to make sure that Cameron and Jocelyn is not a thing because, yeah, he's a scumbag. Let's talk about Carly a little bit. So, I'm not gonna lie, she was kind of annoying me. I know. She kind of rubs a lot of people the wrong way. When I look at the comment section, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't think she's that bad. But the thing that was annoying me was that she was there talking to Jason and talking about this upcoming DA that's going to be asking her all sorts of questions. And I'm just like, alright, really? So 1, 2, 3? 3 cops so far that she talked to? And, okay, whatever. So she's upset or whatever, but then she starts talking about Nell and how she feels bad for Nell and feels bad for not trying to save Nell faster. Not trying to get to Nell fast enough or whatever. And me and Jason on the same page about this. The world is better off without Nell Benson. Period, point blank. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I was just personally glad that she was gone because she was just a one-note, one-dimensional character to me. But it just was like, enough, Carly. Jesus, we get it. She's dead. She tried to hurt you and your family so many times. I get it. You're a good person and you're sorry to see even Nell Benson go. But enough is enough. I don't want one more person to feel sorry for Nell, except for probably Nina. Like, she's gone, and clearly, you know, I'm just not gonna get into it. She's gone. And yeah, so Jason's just like, listen, just stick to your story. As long as your story remains the same, then everything will work out fine. And I'm sitting there thinking, but Carly slipped up on your story. I'm pretty sure you said something along the lines of, if we have just kept it the same, then they would have knew something was off. But now you're sitting there telling her to stick to her story. I don't blame the character, I blame the writers. Oh, also, exactly what I'm saying, too many damn characters. So Brando was in there just giving the update to Sonny and Jason, and they're gonna enact some sort of plan about, you know, testing Brando's loyalty with Cyrus. And Cyrus is going to want to believe that he passed the test because he's arrogant, according to Sonny, because, you know, Sonny is not arrogant at all, but he's arrogant and he wants to believe that Brando will betray Sonny. So, yeah, that's the only reason why he was in there for the first 5 minutes, and other than that, I don't know why he was there. But also, Sonny pays Julian a visit, because, listen, I don't know what happened. I feel like I may want to just do a video one day of the rapid downfall of Julian Jerome, because this character went from like mob, you know, another mob guy, whatever, mob king or whatever, to like, you know, Sonny's whipping boy. There's other words I can use to describe, and I'm not going to do it, but just Sonny's whipping boy is the best way I can sit there and describe it. And, you know, Sonny gets there, and he pretty much just lets Julian know, listen, you're going to be on my team, you're going to sell my coffee, and Julian's like, listen, I'm not selling to Cyrus, and I'm not dealing with you. And Sonny's like, well, you know what, you're not in a position to sit there and really say no. I'm like, you know what, this is coming from a person who loves Sonny's character and really wish that they have done a better job with Julian, but you know what, the way they've written you, Sonny's right. You don't really have a choice. But I feel like Sonny's arrogance is going to play against him. And that Julian is going to turn to Cyrus because, you know, he doesn't really like the way that Sonny is pushing him around. That's just my guess, which I feel like I'm like 80% right. And then he leaves. Now, Alexis gives some sound advice to Nicholas. She has been hitting that bottle hard. And I don't take, when I say stuff like that, and I joke around about, you know, she needs to do a better job as far as hiding her drinking and stuff like that. I do not take for, no, that's not the word I'm going to use. I don't take lightly, alcohol addiction. I really don't. You know, when I sit there and say that stuff, it's just more for like lighten up the mood and stuff like that. But I don't want people to sit there and think, or my reviews to reflect that I take, you know, alcohol, you know, pause for a second. Alcoholism. Like, I don't take it lightly. I had to really sit there and try to find the right word for that. But with that being said, yes. So Alexis has been just hitting that bottle. And when Nicholas comes there, I'm just sitting there thinking, was Nicholas so self-involved into him asking for advice of how to get out of this whole, you know, like to try to sit there and deal with Scott and to try to, like, you know, deal with the feelings of Ava, that he didn't smell vodka on her at all. I mean, does he not know that she's a recovering alcoholic? Because he just walked right past her, and I'm like, listen, let me tell you something. With certain drinks, especially the one that I looked at, I was like, yo, you can smell that a mile away. You can smell it in the air. It's that thick. Anyway, he just walked past, he got some sage advice, and he left, and then, I gotta tell you, the minute he walked out that door, Alexis could not get to that bottle faster. It was damn near life or death. Like, she just zoomed right over and just poured that drink so fast, and, yeah. And in the previews, you know, you're gonna sit there and see Sam confront, Alexis on her drinking, and it is going to be ugly. So I think the last thing we're going to sit there and talk about is Liz and Franco. So Liz, at this point, she's just pretty much just going back on everything that happened, as far as, like, you know, at first she was with the black male, and now she's not with the black male, and, you know, she gives her whole moral speech about how it's wrong, and it's double standards, this, that, and the third. And, you know, honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm like, Liz, I partly want to sit there and praise her a little bit, because even though she's a character that does mess up, she does do her best to sit there and try to be a better person, you know? But I'm sitting there thinking, you know, while she's sitting there giving, you know, Franco the dirty-eyed look and the morals and the moral speech and stuff like that, I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? Where was your morals when you were sitting there lying to Drew at the time when he thought he was Jason, and you kept him away from his family? Where was your morals then? You know? Where was your morals when you were sitting there cheating on Nicholas? I mean, when you were cheating on Lucky with Nicholas? Where was your morals then? You know? So to sit there and have her give her whole, you know, moral speech or whatever, it's like, yeah, okay, sure. Anyway, whatever it is, you know, Scott goes and he collects the money from Nicholas, and he collects the money from Ava, and then he hands both of them the check, and, you know, Franco, being Franco, decided to just pretty much cave right to whatever Liz said, and they both ripped up the check, they walked away, and, you know, while Scott is trying to pick it up or whatever, you know, pick up pieces of the check, Ava walks by, and she sees them walking away, and then she sees the check, and she's like, wow, okay. So now she knows, you know, she knows about the whole, you know, scheme thing, I'm assuming. And, last thing I'm going to sit there and talk about is Ned. Now, you know, I know I was sitting there harping this whole week, or, you know, a little bit about Ned and him just, like, you know, pretty much being a dick to his wife and an ass to his daughter, and, you know, I'm sitting there wishing that, you know, he can combine a little bit of Justin with Ned and kind of be a better character, but I'm going to be honest with you, Ned, when I was watching him over the years, he's kind of been somewhat of a boring character. And at least with this, they're giving him something. You know, so he's not there having a meeting, you know, trying to reconcile his differences with his daughter. And you could just see the arrogance and the pompous attitude of him, you know. Brooklyn is not there explaining why she did what she did. And basically sitting there saying, listen, I know I was a little naive, my heart was in the right place, and I'm sorry. And Ned is just all ready to sit there and give her the third degree about how it was wrong. You do this for the family, and, you know, you're naive, but, you know, you learned your lesson, not to sit there and trust Valentine, and just kind of just really talking down to her. And despite, you know, Monica's best efforts as far as trying to mediate this whole situation, it was very clear that, you know, Ned just wanted to prove that he was right. and you should listen to what I said, this, that, and the third. And you know what? I give Brooklyn somewhat credit, because at least she was sitting there trying to explain herself and admit some of the stuff that she did was wrong, you know? And given Brooklyn, I feel like even that much was a lot for her. Anyway, Ned blew it. And, you know, Monica is sitting there pretty much like, what the hell were you thinking? So the conversation shifts to Olivia, and that's when Ned blurts out, I cheated on Olivia with Alexis. And Brooklyn just happened to overhear it. So, yeah. Guess we're going to see how the fallout of that is. And Dante's living there, so it's going to get very interesting. And by the way, for the people that are not happy, because I did talk to somebody at my job about, you know, Dante and the scruffy beard or whatever. I think it looks pretty cool. But I know that's going to probably wind up going away. You know, probably when he starts to fight for his girl. Anyway, it should be pretty interesting, him coming back. And, you know, the sad thing is that I wanted Dante to come back. But as long as they give him something to do. Okay, so this is pretty much the end of my review. You know, Dante coming back, I want them to give him something to do. Because the last couple of days, a month or whatever before he left, I felt like they didn't really give him anything to do. And a lot of times he was just pretty much Lulu's wife. Lulu would sit there and get out of control about something. Dante would sit there and try to be the middleman. And Lulu would sit there and constantly berate him for not taking her side. And after a while, it was just like, so you're either Lulu's husband or you're Nathan's pretty much only friend. You know? They're not giving you anything to do. And so, him coming back, they gave him something to do. Awesome. Can you do that with Jax at this point? Because, like... And, yeah, you know what the problem is? I feel like they do have a lot of characters, but they put way too many characters on screen. Like, there was no need for Brando to be there, you know? Have him come back when he's actually doing something. Not him just being there for 5 minutes to collect a check. Like, and I hate that they repeat myself, because I know I said this when I was doing my comparison to Days versus GH, but, like, I don't know. Anyway, with that being said, thank you for listening to me ramble for like 3 minutes. Or 4. I lose track sometimes. But anyway, let me know what you think. Let me know, do you think that, you know, about the whole Dev situation. I get it, he's a teenager. I did some stupid stuff when I was a teenager. I've done some stuff that was stupid, you know, in my adulthood. But, you know, his scumbag tactic, you know, I look at that and I'm like, you know, it is scummy, but he is a teenager. And I sit there and I think, you know what, the problem with Dev's whole plan is that even if it works, even if somehow he does get with Jocelyn, how is he going to explain that to Sonny and Carly? How is he going to sit there and explain that to, like, you know, their friends or whatever, that they're hooking up together? Like, how is any of that going to work? Like, even if they're not blood, it's still just weird. Like, they live in the same house, they're somewhat family, and they're hooking up, and everyone's gonna be okay with that? I get it, he's a teenager, he's not seeing that far into the future, but, like, this is just one of those things where it's like, there's no good turnout for this whole Dev and Jocelyn thing. So, I think that's another reason why I'm partly just not really that interested into it. Because it's like, even if he does get her, what are you going to do with her? Like, anyway, that's just my whole thing. And now I ramble for like 4 minutes. So I'm going to go. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Let me know what you think. And I will catch you in the next review.